Welcome to Journee Continues podcast, where real voices and real recovery matters. Today, we have Madam President Mary Sheffield here today. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you.
So, the treatment facilities, a couple of treatment facilities, and myself have collaborated to develop some questions that are concerning to the community, the recovering community. And we just want to give the mayoral candidates a chance to elaborate on what they're going to do for the city of Detroit, their leadership. What is their vision for us if you were elected, if we elected you as
Yes,
the
ma'am.
people? So, with that being said, our first question: what inspired you to run for mayor of Detroit, and how do your personal experiences shape your leadership style?
Yep. So again, I'm daughter of Detroit, born and raised here, and I've been serving on the city council now for 12 years, and seeing both the progress in the pain of so many of our residents, whether it's neighborhoods that have been overlooked, whether it's small businesses that don't feel that they have the support that they need, or generational Detroiters that have been here that are looking for support as well. I'm very proud of what we have accomplished, but I still see a tremendous amount of growth that's needed in our city. And that is what gives me the desire to want to continue to serve and take our city to the next level. The values that have shaped me as a kid, growing up in civil rights and social justice. I come from a lineage of people who taught me about being a public servant and understanding that it's about people and it's about uplifting the most vulnerable in our community. So to have someone who is people driven, community driven, in the mayor's office that also has experience and able to get things done, I think is so important at this moment in our history.
Thank you. What is your long term vision for Detroit, and how do you plan to balance equity and community empowerment?
Yeah, my long-term vision is that a Detroit where everyone can have their dreams realized and their purpose fulfilled. Simply put, I think Detroit can be a place of opportunity and an increased quality of life for all of us. And so I want to focus in on housing and home ownership, of course, improving our educational system and outcomes, building and redeveloping our neighborhoods, strengthening our public safety, improving our overall transit system here in our city, and building our middle class through great paying careers that can keep both our young people from leaving and also staying here in our city. And so I want Detroit to be a place where families can live and thrive, where our communities are thriving, and where everyone can find their purpose right here. They don't have to leave and go elsewhere, but their whole destiny can be fulfilled here in the city of Detroit. And I don't think that growth or redevelopment or revitalization has to mean displacement. And so at the forefront of all that I do, well, I will always center generational Detroiters, those that have been here, to ensure that they are not being pushed out, but are included in the growth of our city.
Thank you. How will you remain accountable to the communities if elected?
Yeah, so that's very important to me. Ongoing communication, whether it's community meetings and dialogue, ensuring that I'm listening to their voices throughout the process as decisions are being made, that we're not just telling community what they need, but we're actually listening to what they need. So we'd love to always ensure that we are creating coalitions and bringing people together around various issues and always have the community's voice a part of that process.
Thank you. What is your plan to support individuals in recovery from substance use disorder, particularly those re-entering society after incarceration?
Yeah, so I think this is personal to me. My father has recovered from substance use for over 30 years now. And in my family, like my grandmother would tell me so many stories about her mother who was an alcoholic, and the things that she had to endure. And so it runs in my family. I'm very familiar with how it can affect not just the individual, but the family. So we are going to continue to support, one, the grassroots organizations that are already doing the work. Right. There's so many people in this in this city that are doing the work. I think Andre Johnson, Detroit Recovery Project, and Mariners Inn, and you all, like, there's a lot of great organizations that are doing the work that need better support from the city. So from a funding standpoint, I want to better support them. I have a vision of creating an office of returning citizens that would allow for a coordinated effort to support those who are re-entering back into the community as well, which I think is important. But I think overall, it's providing the wraparound services for the whole self of a person, whether it's housing and education and employment. We have to support them as a whole.
Just to hear you say that you understand, because your father had once suffered from that, you know, the disorder, and you know firsthand what that looks like. I didn't know that. See, a lot of people didn't know.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that. Yeah,
No,
and even not just substance use, but I mean mental health challenges, right? Like that.
See, a lot of people don't know.
I mean,
they just think that they just the Sheffields. They don't have anything going on.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think mental health is a real thing as well, and I think we all probably know of someone in our family or a close friend that suffers from that as well, and that's not distant from me either. I mean, I've dealt with that in my family as well, so it's very important to me. I mean, I remember during COVID, the pandemic, it was on my heart to go to the Mariners Inn, and I went over there and I started to minister to the men that were there, and this was just randomly, and I was just there for the reopening of the new facility as well. Right. So substance what is it? Substance use. It used to be abuse.
Yeah, abuse.
Now it's substance use disorder.
Yes, ma'am.
Is definitely near and dear to my heart because I know that there's so many different challenges that individuals face, and I think we as a city can be a better support system to uplift those individuals.
Thank you. How will you work with nonprofits, recovery homes, and peer support programs to expand access to transitional housing and recovery services, which you did touch on a little bit?
Yeah, I think we're going to continue to find ways to support them financially. I think one of the main issues is funding, right? They need the capacity to be able to expand, to grow, and to service the needs that they have. So funding, whether it's directly from the city or whether it's public-private partnerships that we can leverage to uplift the work that you guys are doing. And then I think secondly, understanding what the need is. Is it more space? Is it access to buildings? Is it more beds? The city, I think, could be a better support system in that regard. And then as you all are doing the amazing work that you're doing, I think the city can support by providing the wraparound services. So if there's someone in a facility that is getting ready to transition out, how can we tie them with workforce development and housing, right? And all of these different things to, again, address the whole self of the individual. So we're going to be here to support. We want to know the needs that our existing providers have. And I think the city can be a better support working with our health department and our housing department as well.
Okay. So let me just jump off, because for the people who may know you, they know a little bit about you, what you have done for the city. So can we just tell because I should have did that in the beginning.
That's okay.
Can you just tell the audience, for the people who does not know, who Mary Sheffield is?
Yep. So I am Mary Sheffield. Like I said, I'm born and raised in Detroit, come from a lineage of civil rights and social justice. My mom was a nurse and professor for 18 years. I started serving at the tender age of 14 years old. I was actually called to preach. I started preaching at 14. And then I was the youngest ever elected to city council at 26. And while I've been on council, I've done a lot. I mean, created the city's first ever homelessness task force. We created the city's first ever affordable housing ordinance and housing trust fund. I created an ordinance that provides free attorneys to those who are facing eviction. We created the neighborhood improvement fund to try to steer development back into our neighborhoods. The beautification grant that has given organizations and nonprofits access to grants to beautify certain areas in their communities. And so much more. There's over 20 pieces of legislation that I passed, but I'm very proud of the support that we provided to everyday working people in our city.
Thank you, Mary. I just thought, I said, maybe someone out there do not, who the heck is Mary Sheffield? Thank you. You've done a lot in the city, and I always get correspondence. District 5, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
5.
ma'am.
Do you support integrating harm reduction strategies into public health policies? Why or why not? Most
definitely. Any way that we can reduce harm to support the whole individual, we should do. And so, again, I think through, there's a pillar of my campaign called social services and basic needs. And that is about how we address the most vulnerable in our community with the wraparound services that they need. And that's a big part of what I've done on council through legislation and what I would do as mayor, ensuring that we have that support for individuals as well.
What are your plans to address the affordable housing crisis, especially for vulnerable populations, such as single mothers, seniors, and people in recovery?
Yep. So we're going to build more housing. I think at the end of the day, we have to cut red tape. We have to make it easier for developers to build housing in Detroit. We also have to ensure that we have proper protections for those who are currently in housing, whether it's rental housing, those who are in existing single family homes that need access to be able to stay in their homes. We have to be able to support those individuals as well. And then we need to be innovative and look at some of the existing vacant structures that we have and utilize those to address the needs. If we need more recovery projects or permanent supportive housing, which I'm a big proponent of, we will do that. So we'll build more housing, and we will also provide protections and support for those who currently are in housing that are maybe vulnerable as well.
How will your administration ensure equitable economic development that benefits long-time residents, not just large developers?
Yeah, I want to ensure that there are policies in place that give preference to Detroit-based businesses, that give preference to Detroiters to be able to build and redevelop our city. We're also going to be leaning into existing community anchors that are in our city. So whether it's the Shire House or it's Detroit Recovery Project or our faith-based institutions, these are legacy institutions that have been here. How could they be a part of developing and growing our neighborhoods? And so we want to lean to them first and ensure that there's preference given to those that have been here to be able to contribute to the growth of our city.
Would you support partners that allow city-owned or donated properties to be used by nonprofits?
Most definitely. I think that's what we need to do more of, actually.
Okay.
If we look at, again, some of the churches that have developed areas within their neighborhood, they've been able to utilize city-owned property and create housing, for example. So I do think that is a great way to address the need to regrow and repopulate and develop our neighborhoods, is if we give access to properties to CDCs or nonprofits and help them contribute to growing our city. So yes, I would love to see more of that, and we will work on more policies that allow for that to happen.
Thank you. What mental health initiatives would you prioritize to reduce violence and substance abuse in high-risk neighborhoods?
Yeah, so right now we have community violence intervention, which goes into certain areas of our neighborhoods. Those are a community-based response to gun violence. We will continue that effort. I also think it's important to have mental health co-response units, which trains DPD officers how to respond to a mental health call. So I want to continue to empower that department within DPD so that we have proper training of our officers to respond to mental health calls. And then just trauma-informed training through all city departments, I think, is important. So we got to make sure that everyone who is touching and interacting with the public has some type of trauma-informed training, especially as well within DPD.
How will you ensure that people impacted by trauma and addiction are treated with dignity and compassion by city institutions?
Again, I think that goes back to training, just in general. And it's a big priority for me that everyone in this city, no matter who you are, your background, your income, is treated with dignity and respect. But most important, not just treated, but actually feels that they have a voice, that they have resources to improve their quality of life. And so I think that goes back to just proper training, trauma-informed training, and ensuring that every demographic of our city has a space and feels seen and valued.
What is your strategy for engaging and supporting Detroit's youth, especially those at risk of substance use or justice involvement?
Yeah, so we're going to focus a lot on investing in youth services, preventative measures, creating safe spaces for our young people, and then also, again, providing support to existing organizations that are doing phenomenal work. I think about Teen Hype. I think about the Umoja debate team. I mean, these are organizations that are trying to pour into our young people to support them overall as a person. And so I want to leverage those existing organizations, but also continue to leverage what the city has in place, like the youth services department that I think is not fully functioning, that we can invest more in, but ensuring that we are overall spending our budget more on preventative measures and directly investing in youth services and programming more.
Okay. Will your administration support prevention-based education and job training for youth? Sound like you touched a little bit on it. What would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we talk about public safety and when we talk about our youth in general, oftentimes it's reactive. And I think we have to start being a lot proactive. And I think for me, you will see a lot more of a focus on how we invest in mentorship and training and education in those safe spaces that I talked about that actually cultivate our young people. Because I think it ties into everything. If we start in a preventative way and start investing more in youth services and youth programming. So yes, to answer your question, we will use our rec centers, our libraries, right, different organizations to create these opportunity hubs within our neighborhood so that young people have access to as well.
That concludes our questions.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you, Mary.
Thank you so
and
much.
Taking time out, because I seen you last night at NCSC. We were there, so yes. I know that you had a busy night last night.
Yes.
The last question I would like to ask. So, as a precinct delegate, it is my duty, my job, to inform and educate the community, being the recovering community, just the community as a collective. What would you say to someone who don't believe in the process when it comes to voting? How would you, not even how, let them know why it's important, even though you want them to vote for you, but just putting that aside, why is it important to cast the vote?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that all politics are local. And our local government, our elected officials, whether it's the mayor, the city council, our school board, I mean, these individuals directly impact the quality of life. And if you don't want to vote, other people are deciding for you who should represent you. And I think we have a responsibility and an obligation to get out and ensure that we have the proper leadership in place that will assure that our values, things that we believe in, are represented every day in city government. So I want to encourage you all to make sure you use your voice, which is your vote, in this upcoming election, because this is a critical moment. You know, there's a lot happening on a national level, and just as much effort as we put into the presidential election, we really should be focusing just as much on the local municipal election, because we, as the government, whether it's the mayor or the city council, we oversee day to day, whether it's gun violence, education, mental health, all of these things that we talked about today. Our quality of life in our neighborhoods, our trash pickup, abandoned homes, parks and recreation. I mean, everything that we care about and everything that we do day to day is directly governed by our local elected officials. So brighter days are coming. I hope that you all get out and vote and exercise that very precious value that we all have and ability to do is vote in this upcoming election.
Oh my God. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you
for being a guest. And until next time, keep coming. Real voices, real recovery, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.